Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Robbie Seed Show. This episode is brought to you by TrueBuild, which is an asset management and property management company based in Charleston, South Carolina. TrueBuild manages all types of properties, including multifamily, single-family, high-end, and low-income properties, and works with government agencies such as the VA and Section 8. They specialize in value-add properties where occupancy needs to be increased, and they have a track record of increasing occupancy and revenue by double digits in as little as 2 or 3 months. Please check them out at www.truebuild.com. That's spelled TRUBILD.com. Or you can visit them on Facebook at TrueBuild. In full disclosure, I am an owner in the company, and I sure hope you come visit us soon. This show, as you may already know, is about interviewing extraordinary people, both from real estate and many other fields, focusing on 3 areas, and that's balance, systems, and freedom. You're going to enjoy the stories from these exceptional people, which reveal their beliefs, habits, and perseverance to overcome obstacles. And you're going to learn their tested strategies that offer us shortcuts in achieving freedom. For details on the interviews, including show notes, resources, and highlights from the show, please visit robertseed.com, and that's spelled ROBERTSEED.com. Now please enjoy the show. Okay, guys, in this episode, I interview Russ Scheider, who's a friend of mine. We've been doing business together for quite some time in real estate, and I really look up to Russ. He's a professional in all descriptions of the term, and he has found a way in real estate to differentiate himself from many of the other investors in the market by, again, being professional but methodical in his methods. And I think we can learn a lot from Russ in this interview. Definitely visit his website, and you can learn more about him at charlestonallcashhomebuyers.com. That's charlestonallcashhomebuyers.com, all spelled out. Or you can give him a call at 843-856-1440. That's 843-856-1440. And during this episode, we probably dive too deep into some of the granular data of real estate investing. This show's not really specific to real estate investing, but it is for those that are interested in getting into the real estate investing world. It has some pretty good data on that and what that experience is, the pluses and minuses and the hard challenges that you come across in this industry. But we also get into some great stuff that Russ shares with us, such as the books that he reads, some of his daily routines, some of the systems that he has implemented to, again, and I know so many real estate investors out there, good people, but kind of dabble in the real estate investing world and almost treat it more like a hobby. Russ definitely is not one of those guys. He is very serious and very methodical, and he gets it done. So him and his wife, Natalie. So we don't interview Natalie on this specific interview, although I'd like to come back and interview them both in the future, but I think you're going to really enjoy it. So again, that's charlestonallcashhomebuyers.com, and this is Russ Scheider. Please enjoy the interview. All right, so today I'm with Russ Scheider, and Russ is a successful real estate investor in multiple capacities, both as a fix and flipper. He has done construction, and he also is a wholesaler. So Russ, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Robbie. Yeah, this is Russ, and happy to have you here, and looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess starting out, well, right now, I was curious, what you're working on and what's going on in your life. We're in your studio here that you just bought, and we're in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, in the place called the Old Village of Mount Pleasant. And this is an awesome little office and studio that you have here. But you want to kind of tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now, like deals that you're working on or anything
Absolutely.
like that?
Yeah, we just moved back to the Old Village for the lifestyle. I rode my bike to the beach this morning and did my meditation on the beach. And it's just a cool spot that we met a friend for coffee, a business friend for coffee at 8 o'clock, 3/4 of a mile from the house. And there's just a lot going on. It's a good environment for our lifestyle. As far as what we're working on right now, my wife, Natalie, is running all of the houses that we buy, rehab, and then sell on the retail market. And she's currently handling all aspects of that. And what I do is our marketing to attract motivated sellers, and then on the wholesale side, our marketing for cash buyers.
Okay.
And then I also handle all the wholesale transactions, at least the assignments of contract and some that we close on, and Natalie ends up wholesaling a few through the rehabs.
So in that process, so you're basically blasting out a bunch of marketing, and I know we can dive into that more in detail, but you basically have, say, 100 leads come in, and are you sort of saying, okay, this would be a good fix and flip, so we'll put that into that bracket, and then these would be a decent wholesale?
Right.
That's kind of how it works. So you're cherry picking.
Yes, and right.
That's okay.
What we're doing is Natalie looks at everything that comes through, unless it's really obviously not in her criteria. And we have a system in place. So we do the marketing. We do TV, radio, newspaper, bandit signs, other types of signs. I do lots of networking. We work with realtors. We do some online marketing. And then we have a virtual assistant who does HUD and auctions and all that sort of thing. So we have really too much marketing. As we get into the conversation, I'm going to get a little more focused with my marketing and not have such a shotgun approach. Right. We took the shotgun approach over the last 2 years so we could measure different avenues and see what works well and what works better. So the leads come in. The way we do things is everything goes to a live call center. And so we pay Answer First Communications in Florida to answer our phone calls on a script. And then they populate that into a web form that goes into our Podio system.
Awesome.
Previously, we would receive an email for each lead, but instead of that, it goes into Podio.
Then it's already dialed up in your CRM and ready to go.
Yeah, it comes up in the CRM, and then the CRM does things like identify the address on Google Maps and some of those automated things. Those leads go first to our virtual assistant, who's in the Philippines, who is fantastic, very, very smart, hardworking young lady who does a lot for us. And Steffi is our current virtual assistant. She runs comps the way Natalie and I like comps run, pulls a property card, and then any other information, depending on the situation. And then she distributes those leads, most of them to Natalie.
Based on the criteria, based on if it's such and such. And so what, I guess on that, all sorts of good stuff there. That's awesome. First of all, let me just say that I know a lot of investors around town and really across the country. And I think one of the things I really like about you is you're not afraid to try new things. You're testing a lot of stuff and you're professional. I think a lot of folks kind of dabble and they have real estate investing as a hobby.
Right.
And they never see success because they're never all in and they're also never treating it like a business. And I think that's one of the things I think is awesome about you and Natalie is how you guys, it's a straight up business and your marketing. And like you said, not all your marketing is going to work and that's okay. But the people in any kind of business, I think, test. And, of course, some things are going to fail and some things are going to do good and go after the ones that are good.
Sure.
But that's awesome. I mean, the fact that you have, and then you're using the virtual assistant, we'll get into that as well. But one of the things I was curious about is on your marketing, you said she pulls up the property card, like the tax ID card.
Right.
Okay. And so you're getting a tax value. You're probably looking at like a Zillow or a Trulia or another kind of 2 or 3 different ideas to get an after repair value or current value. How you want to break that down a little bit?
Sure.
As far as how you're valuing those things?
The only reason and all of this is my opinion, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason I have Steffi pull a property card is to identify the owner, because a lot of times the person who calls is not the owner. I don't put a lot of credence in the tax value because our market is so hot right now. And yet there are corners of our market where property values are declining. So it's not a universal hot zone. That off the air, I can give you a couple of specific neighborhoods
exactly.
that I have been tracking for several years, and property values are declining. So we have to be extremely careful.
Yeah.
I don't look at tax value as a value.
Yeah.
I just want to identify the true property owner.
It might be 4 years out of whack too, right? Yeah. So.
Right. And then as far as comps go, we do use Zillow and Trulia. We only look at sold properties.
Right. Yeah.
Zestimate means nothing to me. Some people believe it, some don't, but I don't put any credence in any of those algorithms. We look at sold properties only.
Yeah, that's so true.
So wherever she can find the best source for data. None of us are realtors, so we don't have MLS access.
Yeah.
So we use sold data.
Okay, so let's say you got a property that, are you looking at an as-is value, or are you looking at sold data, so that would effectively give you your after repair value? Is that kind of what you're thinking? And then you're reverse engineering it of what your as is once you go to the property.
Steffi pulls the comps and gives me, I have an Excel sheet that I created for her so we could speak the same language, but I then look at those comps, or Natalie does, whoever's working on it, and then we drill down a little deeper and look at the condition of the comps to see whether, we had one this week, and this was sort of a low-end property. The calculated calculated ARV for it was about 120.
Okay.
But there were houses in the neighborhood, same age, same size, within half a mile, all the criteria that range from $60,000 to $140,000. So then it becomes really important for us to drill in and look at online pictures, if we can get them, of the condition, because the one that sold for 60 is in very different condition from the one that sold for 140, and we settled on about 120 after repair value.
After looking at it,
so we have to be real careful with that. But the system that we use gives us a really good start, but then you still need local knowledge
absolutely.
to do comps.
And then, okay, so say you've established your ARV is 120, and for those listening, may abbreviate ARV, that's after repair value. And like Russ is talking about, that any property we look at, there's an assumption that, okay, if you're going to fix and flip it, you're going to have to do some rehab or whatever, but eventually when you put it back on the market, you'll have repaired it. So it's after repaired value. And then you're working back from that. So are you using I know a lot of folks use a percentage of that minus repairs.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
And are you doing a 70% of ARV is what you're looking for? Or well, it probably depends on the type of, if you're talking about above a certain price or below a certain price, but what, do you kind of have a basic concept?
In the lower end like that, we use a 0.65 as our starting point. So 65% of after repair value less repairs. And then, as you said, it varies. There's sort of a sliding scale.
Okay.
And on the wholesale side, I'm looking at the formulas that my end buyers use.
Exactly. So you have to tailor it a little bit more towards them. And I know that, and that brings up a good point. I mean, we've done some business together recently on almost a turnkey type product. And you want to talk a little bit about how those were? I mean, those are rental properties, so it's a little bit of a different strategy. And you want to explain those? Maybe those are two deals. We don't need addresses or anything, but you can kind of just talk conceptually about what they were.
Yeah, on the wholesale, the rehab side of things that Natalie runs is very much a hard and fast formula, because we're going to buy it, we're going to put our resources in it, we're going to fix it and sell it. So those formulas are very clearly defined. On the wholesale side, I try to really learn what my buyers are looking for. And when it's a buy and hold property that will be a rental, everybody has their own target cap rate or ROI or NOI, or I try to find out what those things are and then base my property searches and my offers on that. And that way the buyer's standing by, ready for me to feed deals.
Yeah.
So that works really well. These turnkey, we had a buyer who wants to own 20 single-family rentals and have no project, doesn't want to manage renovations. You're doing the property management, which thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then I'm managing the renovations for him. So it's a turnkey package. So our buyer ends up with a cash flowing asset. And the last one we did major termite damage repair, and I'm not sure the owner he saw the house before they bought it and he saw it when it was finished, but he doesn't have to supervise, all the repair, and he doesn't have to manage the property management. So we're creating a turnkey.
Well, it was nice for me because I didn't have to mess with the rehab or any of that stuff.
Right.
You took care of all that. So that was good for me. And then, I got the tenant in there. And I think we can talk a little bit about, I know we're jumping around, but the local market. I think Charleston is sort of a unique market in that, I don't know, maybe I'm just not versed enough in other cities, but I think you have basically